How does a new pope get picked? What's the craziest papal election in history? And most importantly, what happens when you take politics, power, and history, and throw them all together into the most secretive event the world has ever seen? First off, let's talk about the sede vacante, which basically means empty seat. This situation kicks in when the pope either passes away or decides to step down. Nowadays, the process of filling that vacancy is pretty straightforward. But it used to be a lot more complicated and chaotic. When a pope dies, the College of Cardinals swoops in to handle the church's business. Now here's the twist: only those cardinals who are under 80 years old get a say in the voting for the new pope. So, it's a select group that really gets to make the big decisions. Now here's where it gets really intriguing. Enter the conclave. This is the super secretive gathering where cardinals huddle to choose the next pope. The term conclave comes from the Latin phrase cum clave, which means with a key. Why? Because once they're all tucked away in the Sistine Chapel, they're literally locked in. No one can leave until a new pope is elected, making it a tense and dramatic affair. It's like a high-stakes game where the future of the church hangs in the balance. Once you step inside the Sistine Chapel, it's like entering a whole different world for the cardinals. They are completely cut off from everything outside, no phones buzzing, no TV blaring, and certainly no newspapers to distract them. All they have is the weight of their responsibility, focusing solely on one crucial task: selecting the next leader of the Catholic Church. It's a bit like being locked in a room, except the decisions made here can impact millions of lives. During the election, each cardinal takes a moment to reflect before casting their vote. They write down the name of the person they believe should take on the immense role of pope. It's a simple enough act, one vote per round, yet it carries a world of significance. Once the votes are marked, they are placed into a urn, a solemn ritual that adds to the gravity of the situation. After the votes are tallied, if one candidate garners 2/3 of the votes, he is declared the new pope. The atmosphere grows increasingly charged with anticipation after every voting round. The old ballots are burned, and when the smoke rises, it tells a story of its own. If no pope has been elected, the smoke emerges dark and billowing, black as night, signaling that the conclave is still deliberating. But when the chosen one is finally decided, the smoke transforms, turning a brilliant white that bursts forth from the chimney. This is the moment everyone across the globe has been waiting for. The decision has been made, and the world knows it's time to celebrate the new pope. It's an iconic and thrilling spectacle that captures hearts and minds alike, uniting millions in the excitement of new beginnings. Once the new pope is elected, the senior cardinal deacon makes his way out to the iconic balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. With the majestic dome looming behind him, he holds the momentous title of Habemus Papam, which translates to, "We have a pope." The crowd, filled with a mix of excitement and reverence, erupts into cheers and applause as they anticipate the arrival of their new spiritual leader. Then, with a sense of grace and warmth, the new pope steps out onto the balcony, smiling and waving to the eager masses gathered below. He takes a moment to soak in the atmosphere, the energy of over 1 million hopeful hearts. After greeting them, he delivers his first Urbi et Orbi blessing, a special message meant for both the beautiful city of Rome and for people all around the globe. It's his inaugural act as the head of the Catholic Church, marking the beginning of an important journey for him and the 1.3 billion Catholics he now leads. The moment is both profound and heartfelt, a true celebration of faith and unity. But the journey of papal elections hasn't always been a walk in the park. In fact, the history behind these elections is quite the spectacle, brimming with drama, power plays, and even a sprinkle of bribery. Back in the Middle Ages, being a pope wasn't just about spiritual leadership. These figures were often neck-deep in the political landscape of the time. Kings, emperors, and influential families often had a hand in steering the electoral ship. Take the notorious Borgia family, for instance. In the early 16th century, Pope Alexander VI, who hailed from this infamous dynasty, was a master of cunning tactics. He didn't shy away from using bribes and clever political maneuvering to place his relatives in significant positions, all while plotting to make sure they would be his successors on that papal throne. But perhaps one of the most jaw-dropping stories from papal electoral history is the notoriously prolonged election that took a staggering 3 years. Yes, you heard that right. 3 whole years, between 1268 and 1271. After the death of Pope Clement IV, the cardinals gathered in the town of Viterbo, Italy, to choose a new pope. But there was a serious problem. No one could agree. Political factions inside and outside the church were fighting for influence, and the cardinals were deadlocked. Imagine a bunch of cardinals cooped up in a room, locked away from the world, trying to come to a consensus on who would lead the church. It got so intense and frustrating that the folks outside began to lose their patience. They actually demanded the cardinals be given less food and fewer comforts until they finally made a decision. And just when you think it couldn't get crazier, there was even a bold attempt to resolve the stalemate by literally tearing off the roof of the building. Talk about raising the stakes. Eventually, under this extreme pressure, the cardinals finally compromised and elected Teobaldo Visconti, who wasn't even a cardinal at the time. He was a respected archdeacon and diplomat, and he took the name Pope Gregory X. Fast forward to today, and the process of selecting a new pope has become a lot more organized than it used to be. Nowadays, there's a strict code of secrecy during the conclave, making it a private affair. Sure, political influence lingers in the background like an uninvited guest, but the church has made strides to ensure the process feels more democratic and less swayed by outside forces. Take the most recent conclave in 2013, for instance. It wrapped up in just 5 days. Imagine that. After a whirlwind of discussions, debates, and possibly some divine inspiration, Pope Francis was selected. These days, the whole process is pretty fast and efficient. Once the cardinals make their decision, the new pope chooses a name that often pays homage to his predecessors. For example, Pope Francis chose his name to honor Saint Francis of Assisi, symbolizing his commitment to humility and a focus on the poor. It's a beautiful nod to history and tradition, reflecting the values he hopes to embody during his papacy. Today, the Pope holds a position of influence that resonates more than ever before. While the Catholic Church continues to be a spiritual home for more than 1 billion followers, the Pope's voice has transformed into a significant force in global affairs, especially concerning politics, climate change, and social justice. It's fascinating to see how the papacy adapts and evolves with the times, yet it remains deeply rooted in a rich history that spans centuries. The blend of tradition and modern relevance makes the Pope's role uniquely impactful in today's world. From the clandestine gatherings shrouded in smoke to the highly anticipated moment of the papal name reveal, the journey of electing a pope is filled with fascinating history and dramatic twists. It's a process like no other, steeped in tradition and mystery. And now you have the inside scoop on how it all unfolds. If you're intrigued and want to dive deeper into the captivating tales of the Vatican, the Church, and all the intriguing stuff that surrounds it, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep uncovering the amazing stories that history has to offer.